Before 7 o'clock news, I was talking about the sources of thinking or elements of thinking. We mentioned the thoughts, the daily events, the past, the memory of the past, and the future, and learning anything, and problems. I will add that the life events, whatever it is, all the life events will be a part. Every single life event will be a part of our thinking. All. Volcanoes, earthquake, weather, anything. That will be a part of our thinking. Now, we can be occupied for any news we listen to. If we leave it come to us, we will be occupied with it. If we go further, I would say, if we focus on anything, try to analyze it and see the bad side, the dark side of it, we will be occupied with it. And that's why people can have a stress of any change in the weather. They can have stress of crowded areas. They can have a stress of noisy. They can have stress when they listen to the news, any kind of news, especially the bad news, of course. So the life events, whatever it is, it will be a part of our thinking. Now, our own human nature, our desire, our instincts, all of them, they are a part of our thinking. You remember that when we talk about the characteristics and feature of a human being, we were talking about instincts, the desires we have. And we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it inside us for a purpose. And we explained, like at that time when we were talking about the characteristic feature of a human being, human nature. So instincts, again, is a part of our thinking. Right. Now, the self itself, I mean, our self, our mind, and whatever released from there. Because Allah said in the Quran, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, that our self, our mind, our internal identity inside got the capability for good and bad. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, that we have the freedom of choice to go for bad or good. Allah gave it to us. And you know that I've told you that the test based on freedom of choice. Now, if you remember Adam's story, I've told you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after learning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Adam the freedom of choice with learning. Then the test came. You have a knowledge, previous knowledge, then you have freedom of choice, then test can come. And I've told you that any test on earth to the end of the life, based on these two, must be previous knowledge and learning, and must be freedom of choice. Otherwise, there will be no test. That's exactly what happened. It's based on that. And this is a pure justice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you have freedom of choice and then you choose, right or wrong. Allah told us this is right, this is wrong. And you choose. And you are responsible. And it will be in your record. And accordingly, your record will be there. And then you decide from here your destiny there. It's pure justice. So the capability of this, the ability of us to do the right and wrong, to choose, is a feature Allah gave it to us, characteristic feature of a human being. Good. Now, I mean, these, I would say, instincts, for example, we are eating, we are drinking, we have our own wishes and desires. This is very similar to the animal, but the animal is guided by instincts. We're not guided by instinct. There is a control. That's why when the person follow the instincts, follow the, I would say, desires, we say that he's like animal, because animal got no control. Animal just guided by instincts. But the human being, no, he's got control. That's the main difference between human being and between the animal. I mean, I like to say something about the previous 9 sources I've just mentioned now, that all of these sources, there is a way to control them. All of these sources, there is a way to control them. And all of these sources, if they exceed to the limit, exceed to the normal limit, they will become a load. They will become a stress. And then we will have problem. Anxiety came from that one. Depression came from that one. Bipolar came from that one. Now, there is a distinction between personality trait and mental illness. And no doubt that personality trait need to be controlled, otherwise it may lead to to mental illness. It doesn't mean that every mental illness connects to personality trait. I don't say that. But some of the personality trait can be source of mental illness if we don't control it. And inshallah, in a few weeks' time, I'm going to talk about hypersensitive personality. I have given this topic in my show about a year and a half ago. And there are audience online, thousands. And I have few thousands listeners about hypersensitive personality. And I have given a full description about this personality. And I have given, again, the remedy and treatment for this problem, the hypersensitive person. And I'm going to repeat it because so many people requested. Inshallah, I will repeat it in a few weeks' time, because I have to go now for the proper thinking. Next session, it will be proper thinking after we are talking about the source of thinking, inshallah ta'ala. So let me come again now. Those thoughts, for example, they can exceed the limit, and the thought accumulated. Now, if we listen to our thought, any thought, we leave it, it won't be the same. Even if single idea comes to you, one single idea, and you leave it, this idea will be accumulated with other ideas, other thoughts, and that will be like stress, especially if they are negative. They won't encourage you to go further. They will prevent you to go further because you listen to them, you leave them, you give them space to occupy. And I have said that many times. We always have a control. Again, these daily events, we have any kind of daily events, whatever we see, whatever we hear during the day can affect us. The YouTubes we look at, we listen and look at the YouTube, it affects us, either immediately or afterwards. Sometimes subconsciously, we don't feel, but it is there. That's why the effect of video games, the effect of YouTubes is tremendous. I mean, there are so many research about that, how they affect the brain, affect the mind, affect the mood, affect the psychology of a human being. We know that. And the past, when you listen to the past, when you leave the past come to you, especially the bad memory that affect you. As I have told you, so many people, they're living in the past now. In their present time, they're living in the past, occupied by the past, especially the bad memory. If there is a lady divorced, And she's now still, she's a divorced lady. She will think about her life before divorce and after divorce. And she is divorced. And she brought up all the memory, the bad memory, occupied by, surrounded by. And then she cannot free herself from these chains. She'll be like handcuffed and prisoner. There are so many cases, you see. That's one case. Sometimes if you fail, if you didn't succeed, I wouldn't say fail. If you didn't succeed, you didn't write of anything, that sometimes could be, in the past, it would be a bad memory for you. And then you say, I didn't do it, I am useless, I'm not good. And that will accumulate it as a negative thoughts that will lead you, put you down, and then you can't go further. Even the future, as I have told you, when exceeded more, you have more space. The future, we plan for it, then we go. That's the normal thing. If somebody wants to study medicine, you just have to work hard in the GCSE and then work on the A-level by choosing specific subjects, and then he has to get a grade so he can go to the medical school. So this is an aim now. It's in front of him is a future goal. Do it and do your best now to reach it. You cannot live in it as if that you are now in medical school, where you're still in GCSE. This is what they call it, daydreaming. But this dreaming sometimes can block your life. Sometimes can, like a blockage in your way, prevent you to go further, to do whatever you do, whatever you need to do, or you have to do to achieve that goal. Planning is important for any task you want to do in the future. But the future should not come to your present time and you be occupied by these. There are so many people living in their own future hopes and goals and tasks. They came to them here. And they fill spaces of their life, of their present time, and prevent them to go further. It happened. It did happen, especially for those sensitive people or their high emotional state, high emotional level. Right. Now for learning, no doubt that learning is something important, but we have to do effort to learn. If you want to learn something and I need to read something to learn it, I have to read it carefully and concentrate it carefully, focusing, and I have to concentrate my reading so I will understand either topic or anything. We have to do our effort to do that. So learning is a process, but there are steps for this process, either through reading or writing or listening. You listen to somebody, give you instructions, and try to understand them and repeat them. Then you practice them. And practicing itself sometimes is a part of learning as well. Good. Now the problems. As I have told you, as a life skills, essential life skills, I'm going to talk about problem solving, inshallah. The problems is, I would say, there are so many issues. Some complicated issues can be named as problems. Not every issue is a problem, yes, but some complicated issues which they need to be solved, we call them a problem. And we have difficulty. Not every difficulty is a problem. Life is a test. The whole life is a test. And this test is sort of problem, need to be solved. when you choose something, so you have a problem in front of you. Now, if you have MCQ, as I've told you, you have a problem in the form of MCQ. You have one question and 4 answers, and choose the right answer. There's one right answer. So there are 4 answers, one of them is right, and the other 3 is wrong. And you're going to choose. It is a problem you need to solve. Solving by choose the right answer. So life is, I would say, full of controversy, challenge, variety of things. This is life. Allah made it like this, as a test for us. The test for Adam, our father Adam, that test was a lesson for him and for us. Because he failed that test. He didn't obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he used his freedom of choice, the wrong choice. And there is no justification. As I have told you, no justification for any mistake, any sin whatsoever, simple or big. But there is explanation. We explain why we did commit this sin. Why? This explanation would be very helpful in future. We're taking a lesson, so I will not do the same sin or mistake again. That's why we explain it. But this explanation is not justification. No justification. That's why we have to ask Allah for forgiveness. If you commit sin, get rid of it, leave it, ask Allah for forgiveness. No justification. You can't say I've done this sin because of that. No. There is no justification and no reason at all put you on a way to commit sin. Allah gave us everything. Allah told you this is wrong, don't do it. This sin, don't commit it. And you did it. So finish. No justification. So the life is a complete test. Every single minute you have a test. Every single hour you have a test. Every day you have a test. Different tests. And you will succeed, inshaAllah ta'ala, because Allah guided us. Allah gave us the guidance and told us how to deal with different things. For example, if you get illness, if you get sick, seek remedy. Ask Allah, make dua, ruqya, right? Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pray for him, then use the remedy, either medicine or whatever. All of these, Allah gave it to you. Allah made the disease as a test, and Allah made the remedy and treatment, both from Allah. And you are, as a human being, you are in the test, under the test. Allah choose the test for you. Some be tested by good health and wealthy, some be tested by bad health and hardship. Allah choose whatever for you, for your benefit. And He gave you everything to succeed. Now we have chances to pass the test during our life. You have thousands and thousands to try the test again and again. In any university, probably the maximum we have 3 times. If you failed, khalas, they'll kick you out. You will leave the university. You can't. You can't continue. But in the life, Allah gave you the whole life for you before you die as a trial. Try and try and try and try until you succeed. It's a great chance for you. So you shouldn't fail. You should not fail. Right. Now, these are the 9 sources, and the last one, which I don't know if I consider it as a source of thinking or not, which is whispering of shaitan, the devil whispering. And the reason I put it as a source of thinking, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave permission to shaitan to penetrate all of these. He penetrated thoughts, penetrating our daily events, penetrating the past memory, penetrating the future goals and tasks, penetrating learning, penetrating the problem, penetrating the life event, penetrating and my own mental desires or instincts, penetrate everywhere. So shaitan is there. And I need to talk about shaitan in details, because it's very important to know the nature of shaitan, the nature of the devil. Allah told us, subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the beginning of the human creation, after Allah created Adam, shaitan refused to bow in respect for Adam, prostrate to Adam. And Allah told Adam, he's your enemy. And he told us that shaitan is your enemy. And shaitan asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to stay to the day of judgment. Allah gave him this. So his duty, the only duty he has, is us. He's against us, to seduce us, to push us away, to pull us from the straight path, using whispering. He has got no power. His power in the whispering only. Since whispering in the form of thoughts, we have adhkar, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have our other thoughts to compete these thoughts and to fight with these thoughts. I need to talk about devil through the verse of the Quran and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam hadith. It's very important for you. So you know exactly that whatever you have of these sources of thinking, shaitan is there. Shaitan can go there. Shaitan got the ability, Allah gave him, Azza wa Jal, the ability to penetrate in all of your internal life. He can come to your wishes, your instincts, your thoughts, your task, your future goals, whatever you have, he is there, taking the advantages, and any gaps you leave, he will just penetrate and try to exaggerate things and manipulation of different thoughts and things. Shaitan, we need to know the nature of shaitan. And I'm sorry to tell you this, there are so many people, they do not know exactly who is the devil. I'm going to explain it in detail. I want to give some highlights about who is he, what sort of traps he has, what sort of power he has, and how to prevent ourselves from him. That will be my next session. Before I go further for the strategy of thinking, which is very important, I will tell you the proper thinking, the correct thinking, or the Islamic thinking, actually. And I have said that about a year and a half ago. Yes, 1 year and a half, I think, inshallah. Yes, I remember 1 year and a half ago, I have explained the strategy of thinking or the correct thinking. But I need to tell you something about the devil. You need to know exactly your enemy. And your enemy is invisible. And he's around you. And you've got the control. You've got the shield. You've got the protection. If you don't use it, he will invade you. So next session, it will be about the devil, inshallah. Then we will complete these 10 sources, 10 known elements of thinking. Maybe there are so many others. We don't know every single one. But these are, at least every one of us knows that these are the list of sources of thinking. The last one is devil, and I'm going to explain the nature of devil, nature of shaitan, next session, inshallah ta'ala. This is Dr. Nuri Saleh with the Power of Change, Radio Seerah 1575 AM. I was giving you the thinking. We explained the language of thinking, and we said that language is the spoken thinking, it's the other side of thinking. At the same time, we come to the sources and tools of thinking. We have listed 10 of them, and the last one is shaitan. Na'udhu billahi min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. Dr. Nuri Saleh with the Power of Change, Radio Seerah 1575 AM. I think I've spent about 29 minutes, will be okay, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll see you next week, inshallah. I'm going to talk about your enemy.